Election night coverage continues here on MSNBC. You're looking at a live picture from Grant Park in Chicago, where Obama supporters are beginning to congregate and have a good time. But the results are still striking in that this race looks like it has a long way to go yet. As we look at McCain headquarters as well out in Arizona, that party getting going as well. Senator Obama has yet to do what a lot of people expect him to do, what he knows he has to do, and that is flip a red state into the blue column, into the Democratic column. It has not happened yet, but we continue to watch. Bishop T.D. Jakes is founding pastor of the Potter's House Church in Dallas, and he's back with us again. Bishop, your reflection so far on the night as it's playing out, the vote as it's coming in?
Well, I think it's anybody's game to some degree. I think in many cases we've underestimated Senator McCain, and I'm not necessarily surprised by that. While he's not got a landslide by any stretch of our imagination, he certainly has been able to.
Sir, we have some news. We have very important news. Ohio is gone for Obama. Senator Obama has done what he has not done up till now, and that's flip a red state. Ohio, the deciding state in the 2004 presidential election. Its 20 electoral votes now go to Senator Obama. He is the projected winner in Ohio. And you look at the map, 195 to 76 the electoral votes. Keith, this is the biggie.
Yeah, so this means he could lose Virginia, where obviously the numbers are not to their liking to that point, and not feel very much pain, still be on the plus side by 7 electoral votes. But more importantly, as we've been suggesting, barring some big surprises in several Obama leans and Obama solids, that path to a Republican victory required an 8-0 record in the toss-ups, and it just went 1-1, Chris.
Yeah, he's just won, as he won Pennsylvania, he won the reddest of the blue states. He's now won the bluest of the red states. He's winning the border war, and he's winning in that part of the industrial Northeast where he was expected to have some cultural difficulties in southeastern Ohio and southwestern Pennsylvania. Whatever he had in terms of problems there, they've been overwhelmed by his success in Cleveland, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and perhaps other cities in those 2 states. So he has won 2 powerful states.
It bears underlining, as we all talk about this, no Republican has ever won the presidency without winning Ohio.
Without Ohio, right. And you know, if Obama were to win Florida as well, which he seems, maybe he will, maybe we won't. Obviously, we can't call it.
We don't have Miami-Dade.
We don't have Miami-Dade, though, and we have an idea of where those votes. He will have an impressive electoral vote total by what we're now mid-evening, I guess. I mean, we're going to be here for a while until the big states out west come in. But this is very significant. Ohio is huge.
Well, I mean, we should keep in mind, too, that we've said that Colorado and New Mexico are too early to call, not too close to call, as was Ohio. The other states that are too close, Indiana, North Carolina, Florida, Missouri, Virginia, all of those. But if we do hear about Colorado and or New Mexico soon, and we now know about Ohio, the night could start to change very quickly.
Joe Scarborough, can I just get you into this conversation as well? This is an important state, one of the big battlegrounds from the last 2 election cycles, and as we have said, the ability for Obama to take one of these states when he had other paths as well.
No doubt about it. The thread has broken. If somebody wants to tell me where McCain can pick up Ohio's electoral votes, I'd like to know the 20 electoral votes. Maybe he'll win Washington, Oregon, and Hawaii, but I doubt it. Perhaps California. I mean, I'm being facetious. There is, and again, we don't want to call it. There's still people on the West Coast that have to vote, but I just don't see any pathway. You take that combined with the fact that right now Barack Obama's leading in Orange County in Orlando. He's underperforming in Jacksonville. He's getting absolutely McCain's underperforming in Jacksonville. He's underperforming in Southeast. He's underperforming in Southwest Florida. It really does look, unless there's a huge turnaround in Florida, and he's running out of time there. It looks like Florida will also go Barack Obama's way tonight. So this will be a big victory.
We have another one to report. Louisiana, we can report now, is for McCain. That is the NBC News projection that Louisiana and its 9 electoral votes for Senator John McCain. Chuck Todd, let's bring you into this discussion. Our political director, Ohio.
Boy, that's a big one. I mean, that's suddenly that eliminates the need for Obama to have Colorado, New Mexico, Iowa. That makes up ground. Look at the blue paint. It's almost as if blue paint got spilled, and we're seeing in the Northeast here a little bit. It's starting to eke its way, and we're wondering, is it going to drip southward into Virginia? Right now, Obama certainly is outperforming Kerry there, but it's very, very close. North Carolina is looking potentially pretty good for Obama. That early vote is huge, but still very close there. But Ohio, I mean, suddenly you take away the path. McCain now needs to sweep Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, needs to make sure he carries Indiana. And then, oh, by the way, he's got to now make up ground here. Potentially, it could be a New Mexico, Iowa. He's got to get some states back that they were worried about losing going into this election.
All right, Chuck Todd, thank you very much. We're going to take another break here. The big news, Ohio for Obama. Our election night coverage continues right after this break on MSNBC.
Morning at 6 Eastern on MSNBC.
We continue on our election night coverage, and we can report to you that New Mexico has now gone for Senator Obama. Another red state from 2004 flipped into the Democratic column. 5 electoral votes. Keith, this was a state that went for President Bush by some 6,000 votes. The margin much tighter back in 2000. Always felt that if it was a Democratic year, the Obama campaign felt that New Mexico would be part of it. They were right.
The ground game from Governor Richardson, obviously in that state, leading that and leading the Democratic surge in that state, extraordinary. This is not the big news of the last half hour. We'll beat that again. Ohio is projected for Barack Obama. This is a roadblock past which there are very few ways to see John McCain tunneling, climbing over, or boring through. Here's the Electoral College map right now based on our NBC News projections. Barack Obama at exactly 285 for Senator McCain, and thus far, the leans have all gone to where they were supposed to go. 3 of them called. The likelies on both sides have all gone to where they were expected to go. The only toss-ups yet decided of the Big 8. North Dakota, McCain 3, Ohio, Obama 20.
And we talk about Florida as well, one of the other big battleground states. This is still too close to call. 27 electoral votes, but we've had some analysis as you look at the vote there. Southern part of the state, Miami-Dade, big Democratic areas yet to come in. There's a lot of reason to worry if you are Senator McCain from people who know the state well, Mike Murphy and others telling us tonight.
You're going to see perhaps the emergence of cabinet material already tonight. Of course, Bill Richardson could fill almost any role in the new government. And Strickland of Ohio, and of course Rendell of Pennsylvania. These are big governors, big wins, essential wins, but big wins. They're going to play a part in this next administration.
You know, Gene Robinson, one of the things that I think we could talk a little bit more about is the economy and how it's playing in these states. You talk about Ohio, you talk about poverty, the poverty rates, home foreclosures. Our exit polling indicating that while there's some sense of confidence among voters about the economic situation nationally, 81% of those voters tonight telling pollsters they are personally quite worried about their personal finances. 81%.
As are so many people, you know, if you look at a Rust Belt state like Ohio, look at a state like New Mexico with a lot of first-time homeowners who got into trouble with mortgages and stuff. Different reasons, states in different stages of development. Yet everybody's concerned about the economy. Obama came to them with a message that they responded to. I will help. Somehow I will help. And John McCain, with his handling of the economic crisis, I think gave a lot of people the feeling that he was not the man to bring relief to this economy, that he didn't really understand the fundamentals and what was going on, and that he was the riskier alternative.
Well, and it's also, we're in a situation where the parties mean very different things on the economy, and it is political common wisdom that a bad economy means that the Republicans will do poorly because Americans won't trust Republicans on economic issues. When Tom DeLay said Nancy Pelosi is going to have so much power and they're going to drive the economy into the ground, you can just imagine the sort of whiplash all around the country if people hear that and think, right, because George Bush and the Republicans didn't drive the economy into the ground? I mean, there is a fundamental difference of credibility between the two parties on the issue of the economy. And it doesn't mean that one of them is going to be better or worse, but the American people don't believe that the Republicans can help on the economy.
Tom DeLay said that because whoever is perceived as driving the bus when it goes into the ditch gets blamed in the next election, and he wants Nancy Pelosi to be blamed.
Well, again, let's not forget the roles people play. Tom DeLay is a very angry Republican who's been out of power not by his own choosing for a number of years. He doesn't respect the people still in power. He's not unhappy that they've failed, not on his watch. But I think of all the lines in this election, some of which we call gaffes and we focus on for 2 or 3 hours, you know what was a real gaffe? When John McCain said, the fundamentals of the economy are strong. As James Carville said, that was the death knell of his argument, because he was identifying, as Barack Obama wanted him to, he was marrying, basically, the economic policies of this administration, and that's what killed him. In the end, if you say, what's the one issue that killed him? The economy, and he got blamed for the performance of this administration, and he accepted that blame by saying the fundamentals of the economy are strong.
I think the nation of whiners comment from Phil Gramm, who was at that point the national co-chair of McCain's campaign, and his chief financial advisor, or economic tipped to be his Treasury Secretary, I think that may have been just as bad. Because it's not only incompetence, it's incompetence mixed with contempt.
Can everybody check my math? Because I'm not that good at it anymore. I used to be pretty good on the addition in the top of my head. We have 200 electoral votes on the Obama side based on the projections we're solid on, correct?
I think so.
That's our number, our latest map. We just saw it.
Right.
California is 55, right? That's 255. The other Obama leans, or the likelies, not even the leans, the likely 255 plus 11 from Washington State is 266 still. We haven't changed that. And then Hawaii, which is what? Isn't that where one of these candidates is from? That's an Obama lead. That's 4. Does that add up to 270 still?
Yeah. Well, but you know, we're not calling Arizona yet, and that's where another candidate is from. So you never know with these things.
Yeah, but I'm just all right. All right, so swap that out, and I'll give you Oregon instead of Hawaii, and that's 273, isn't it?
You have a jeweler's eye.
But of course, I was always good, so we got to trigonometry. There's no trigonometry.
Of course, people are still voting throughout the West, where a lot of these states will be decided. But there's no question. I mean, it underscores the fact that the path. There's lots of ways for Obama to get there.
This throws out Indiana, North Carolina, Florida, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, Virginia, Colorado, New Hampshire, and Iowa.
And those could all have some impact.
Right, and not even speaking about the McCain leads or the still remaining McCain likelies.
All right, lots to get to. We've had a number of results in some key races that we want to get you caught up in as well. For that, once again, we turn to Lester Holt.
David, thanks. The Democrats have picked up another seat. They're now +4. The latest comes in New Mexico. It's the seat being vacated by Republican Pete Domenici, and we can say Representative Tom Udall is the projected winner in New Mexico. David, let's go back to you.
West Virginia now, Lester, for McCain, according to our projection from NBC News. 5 electoral votes, West Virginia, the projected winner. Some discussion about that, Chris.
Yeah, that's the West Virginia and southeastern Ohio and southwestern Pennsylvania are contiguous. That's a very difficult state. We saw that, the Appalachian region, we saw that problem for Barack Obama in the primaries and the caucus contest. It remains a problem, and if he becomes president, he will have a problem in winning that constituency over white working class people, rural people. He's got to win their hearts and minds. He hasn't done it yet tonight.
Let's go back to Lester Holt. Lester?
We told you Democrats picked up in New Mexico. The Republicans hold on, though, to an important seat. It's in Kentucky. Senator Mitch McConnell going for his 5th term. The Senate Minority Leader, we project he will hold on to his seat. They'll hold on to the Republican seat. Democrats had looked at that one as maybe the one that would get them to a 60-seat advantage. They're up by 4, though, right now, as Senator Mitch McConnell hangs on in Kentucky. In Alabama, the GOP holds on. Senator Jeff Sessions is a projected winner in Alabama. In Kansas, another Republican seat they'll hang on to. Senator Pat Roberts Roberts is the projected winner right now. In Michigan, the Democrats hold on to the seat of Senator Carl Levin. He's the projected winner there tonight. Another win for the Republicans in a place we expected it in Mississippi. In the Mississippi 1, Senator Thad Cochran, the Republican incumbent, will hold on to win in Mississippi. In the Mississippi 1 race. Oklahoma, Republican James Inhofe, the projected winner there over State Senator Andrew Rice, the Democrat. In Rhode Island, Democrat Senator Jack Reed, who was elected in 1996, running for a third term. He is the projected winner in Rhode Island. The Democrats hold on to that seat. The Democrats also hold on to Senator Tim Johnson's seat in South Dakota, where he is the projected winner. 2 GOP wins in Wyoming tonight. Incumbent Senator Michael Enzi, he is the projected winner. Also, the second race in Wyoming, incumbent Republican John Barroso. He will also hold on to his seat. So again, let's look where we are now. The Democrats are +4 right now in their quest. Obviously, they want to get to 60, that so-called filibuster-proof number. We're still watching a couple of ones. How do the Democrats hope to get there? We're still watching Alaska. Polls haven't closed there. Senator Ted Stevens, of course, who was convicted of corruption last week. There are a lot of absentee votes out there. He's still in the race. He's appealing. We're going to watch that one. Colorado, we can tell you right now, that one is still too close to call in Colorado. Too early to call. The other one we're watching very carefully, Norm Coleman's race in Minnesota against comedian Al Franken. That one also too early. But those are 3 right there the Democrats have been looking at that they think they might be able to pick up. We're watching them very carefully. We'll send it back to you now.
Lester, thank you very much. I want to show you live pictures from Grant Park on the south side of Chicago. That's where the celebration will happen. Look at that. People beginning to file into Grant Park for what, no doubt, they expect will be a big celebration. As they are watching the results. We can also tell you that while all of that is happening, Senator Obama is at home. He's having dinner with his family. He will head back to the nearby Hyatt Hotel, where there'll be a couple of suites where Senator Obama and Michelle Obama and their children, as well as other relatives, will continue to watch the results. Let's go to Chuck Todd, our political director. Chuck, we're talking and thinking and looking at the numbers and thinking about this narrow path for John McCain. Break it down.
To call it a narrow path is generous at this point. I mean, let's be realistic. I heard you guys saying it. You know, you do our scenarios of what's left, and if we just put these base states that both Al Gore and John Kerry carried, Clinton, California, you can watch these numbers rise. Watch them here on my board. Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii, and it gets grim. We haven't even touched Iowa. We haven't touched Colorado, Nevada, any of these other ones that are coming. This is the picture the McCain campaign's looking at. Look, this is what Ohio and New Mexico together meant to the Obama campaign. This is a big swing. You know, for about 2 hours tonight, this looked like 2000 and 2004. Right. And then all of a sudden, we saw a break take place in the map. And all of a sudden, you know, you see the blue paint. And by the way, notice this consistency. We're seeing this blue paint is dripping down farther and farther, going from east to west over here. That is an intimidating, no longer a northeast corridor, but a northeast and Rust Belt corridor to the Republican Party. And yet, look at all these sporadic states in the south that we've yet to call. But there's a potential path here for Obama to 270 that's very real. And I don't know yet if there is a path that has been plowed anymore for John McCain.
Chuck, is there anything that you can discern from the exit polling about how Obama's doing it?
Yes. I mean, the big thing to me is how he's performing among college-educated whites. I think that is going to be the demographic of the night. It's the one that we would single out. President Bush won college-educated whites. It is why, when you look at Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida being still in this too close to call category, this is where Obama's overperforming with white voters. You know, everybody talked about how he might underperform with white voters. Well, that's not the case. He's doing, and when you saw in Pennsylvania, as well as Kerry did with working class whites, but it's those college-educated white voters that President Bush won, frankly, that a lot of Republican candidates have won in the past.
Right.
That, to me, the demographic of the night, that shift to Obama is what has allowed him to create what is looking like a very easy path to 270 electoral votes, David.
Chuck, can we tell what the last several days have meant, and in fact the last several weeks, it seems like, as we say in journalism, the lid's been on this campaign. The lid's been on the news. Nothing's happened in almost, several weeks now, going back almost to the debates. Has there been no real movement lately?
No, I mean, I think it's clearly this race was a little bit tighter than some of these polls were showing. There seemed to be an overstatement. I mean, I think we're learning there's some slight overstatement. I mean, you can't explain what's going on in Virginia and North Carolina now and not assume there wasn't some slight overstatement in the polls. But clearly, there was somewhat of a lid since the economic hit. Yeah. You know, the debates happened. Obama won the debates as far as the public was concerned. It didn't matter how people judged McCain's performance. The public said, hey, Obama won these debates, and the race froze. I mean, one of the things that I thought would happen is on October 15th, this race could freeze. Well, if you look back on October 15th, we were looking at a 6-7 point race, and that may be where we end up when the night is through. By the way, I think what's fascinating here tonight is that if you look at these two early voting states that the Obama campaign spent so much time on, Florida and North Carolina, they really like how the votes coming in for them. And look at two states where they couldn't manipulate the early vote and do so much work. Virginia and Indiana, a little tighter than they were hoping.
I think we're going to find out in the next couple of days, maybe hours, that, well, a couple of days, that John McCain had a choice to make a couple of weeks ago, whether to end this campaign tough and hard, really tough. Right. And they decided not to do it. We'll find that out. I think they must have had a couple of options on the table. Certainly this ridiculous socialist charge or this ridiculous use of Jeremiah Wright in 2 or 3 days in the Independent ad didn't do the trick. They must have had some real major effort that they turned down because they've done nothing. I've never seen a campaign go down so calmly with an attempt to simply retail their way to victory, and that clearly hasn't worked.
Well, they didn't have another. I mean, they went right. What I've never understood is when you look at where Obama is doing well in the exit polls, it's with the middle voters, middle-of-the-road voters, Catholic voters, moderates, the traditional middle of this country. And instead, it always seemed as if McCain was trying to shore up his base. Now, the good news is that's helped in Georgia. That's why he's carrying Georgia. That's why most of these red states are staying red. But the swing states so far hasn't been as helpful to him.
Last thing, Chuck, for people who are coming in and trying to figure out Florida, dissect this for us, why that is the way it is right now and where it may yet go and what is not yet in this mixture.
A couple of problems with Florida for our guys in the boiler room, Keith. All of this early vote that came in, it makes it so much harder to model the precinct data. So you look here, and it's been very difficult, but I want to highlight a couple of areas. Number one is Pinellas and Hillsborough County. Pinellas here, we've got 97% of the vote in. This was a county that Bush carried. Well, guess what? Obama is now up 9 points there. I would go right next door to Hillsborough. Again, this is the Tampa-St. Pete area. Obviously, this was one that if this is where Obama carries, if he carries these two counties and combined is able to carry them, that's a big deal. And I also want to show you Miami-Dade. 60-40 split right now. There's still a lot more to come in. This is always a Democratic county, but it's usually a 55-45 county. If it's 60-40, this is what it tells you. Scarborough will be able to tell you this as well. It tells you that some of these third-generation Cuban voters are now swing voters.
Yikes.
And that was a move they were making in the Obama campaign among the Cuban voters. Steve Hildebrand, their guy on the ground, essentially moved to Miami in the final weeks of this campaign, and they brought out all the big guns in the Democratic Party. Chuck, thanks very much. Our coverage here on MSNBC will continue right after this short break.
MSNBC's Decision 08 coverage is brought to you by Liberty Mutual, proud sponsor of Election Joe. As Joe and Nika eye the new president's first move. Morning Joe, tomorrow morning at 6 Eastern on MSNBC.
As we await the results here on our election night coverage, we want to show you live pictures from Arizona, the Biltmore Hotel, where supporters of Senator McCain are gathering.